Hi everyone, here we go with the second part of Chapter 3. It was with a great sense of accomplishment Bjorn hit the agree command, and the trade with the dwarf took place. Gone were his old greaves, gauntlets, and linen tunic, and in their place he had a shiny bronze helmet. Not only was this a significant boost to his overall armor score, but, vitally, it should allow him to tackle kobolds single-handed, and that would really accelerate his earnings just in time to acquire either an upgrade to his warhammer or some more armor before the tournament. Bjorn was just thinking how pleased his father would be when he heard his name. "Hey Bjorn, it's me, Erik. Are you in from the rain as well?" The voice came from somewhere near a red-haired, attractive NPC, a human woman with a stylish rapier and sheathed dagger in her belt. Looking slowly back and forth, Bjorn was puzzled. "Erik, where are you?" The NPC bowed. "This is me, the female swashbuckler." "Female? Swashbuckler? I've never heard of that character type. What are you up to?" Bjorn was bewildered and worried. What was his friend doing? Had the stress of his family troubles caused him to have some kind of nervous breakdown? "Is that a new helmet?" the swashbuckler asked. At this question, Bjorn's concerns were replaced by the surge of pleasure his important breakthrough gave him. "Yes, I had to trade in the Greaves gauntlets and tunic, plus 2 Bazants. But isn't it great? I believe I've boosted my armor score by about 20%. It is great, Bjorn. Well done." Erik's character smiled, and that was an extraordinary sight. Bjorn was so used to the inexpressive grey polygons of players that it was still hard to believe he was not interacting with an NPC of the game. Erik must have started his new character with a maximum investment in beauty, which was absolutely a waste, and another sign his friend was cracking up under the strain of imminent reallocation. The poor kid obviously no longer cared. He probably felt that it was too late to perform at all well in the tournament. "I'm going back to fight kobolds. I should be able to solo them now." Bjorn paused. "Do you want to come?" In that moment of hesitation, Bjorn had struggled with himself. The etiquette when killing monsters was that everyone in a group shared the small amounts of loot equally, regardless of who did the most work. In this case, there was no doubt that Bjorn had no real need for Erik's help, and that his warrior would be crunching up kobolds with his warhammer far more quickly than would a female character whose starting points had all been spent on beauty. In effect, Bjorn was offering to tow Erik along. It would have been easy to convince himself that Erik was not serious about his new character, and that any loot divided with it would be wasted. But friends were friends, and, regardless of Erik's irresponsible choices, it was right to make the offer. "Sure, Bjorn, that would be good. I won't be much help, though." "Don't worry, everyone has to start somewhere." Bjorn hoisted his warhammer over his shoulder, and the two of them walked north along the quays. As they did so, Bjorn revised down the amount of new copper bits that he had hoped to make this afternoon. While they made their way through the flapping canvas and rope of the market stalls, Bjorn noticed something unusual. The NPCs were not stationary. Their heads were turning towards the two players. "Erik, look at the merchants." That's odd." Erik's character made the actions that arose from the wave and smile command. A nearby seller of herbs smiled and waved back. "You try." Bjorn had his big warrior wave. Nothing. "They like me." The inflections of a player's voice carried through into their character's speech, and it was clear that Erik was delighted. "Come on, I want to see how effective this helmet is." As they walked on, Erik continually waved and smiled at the NPCs, many of whom waved back. Even a frightening-looking desert mystic selling spells for magicians gave a slight nod of his head towards Sindela. Admittedly, it was extraordinary, but Bjorn was becoming a little impatient with Erik's frivolity. The sooner they made it to the Kobold Plains, the better. At the end of the quays were streets with permanent shops. Standing outside a jeweller's was a guard in full plate armor, resting his hands on his two-handed sword. Theoretically, a thief or a gang of players could try robbing shops, but the various defences employed by the merchants would almost certainly kill them. The elderly shop owner waved back. Owner waved back at Erik's gestures and surprised them both by calling out, Sindela, what a joy to see you. Erik turned to Bjorn, and even through the medium of the game, they exchanged a significant look. That a merchant should call out to a player was totally unexpected. Turning to the merchant, Erik tried a number of phrases. It's a joy to see you too. Thank you. Hail, merchant. Erik, the sign. Bjorn pointed up to a wooden marker that said Antilo the jeweler. So, after a slight pause, Erik tried simply, Hail, Antilo. Come in, my dear. I've something I've been saving for you. Come on, Bjorn. We have to check this out. Let's not be long, though, Erik. Bjorn tried to keep the irritation out of his voice. They followed Antilo into the shop, waiting a moment to adjust to the darkness. Here you are, a present. When it was sold to me, I immediately thought of you. It matches your hair perfectly. A pendant appeared in Sindela's hand. It was silver, with a garnet, and twinkled with red sparks. Erik equipped it to his neck. Here, look, Antilo said, pointing to a mirror. For some time, the merchant and Erik's character stood still, admiring the silver pendant on her pale neck. Are you done, Erik? Muttered Bjorn quietly. Thank you, Antilo. Sindela turned away from the mirror. No need to thank me, Sindela. To have such a beauty as you in my shop is reward enough. But, should anyone ask, tell them this pendant came from Antilo the jeweler. I will tell them that this pendant came from Antilo the jeweler. There was no further response from the smiling shop owner, so it did not take any extra effort to get Erik to leave the shop. Good, let's hurry, Bjorn set off. Wait, Bjorn, look at me. What do you think? What? He turned. That pendant? Surely it's a worthless trinket. True, but even so, have you ever heard of a merchant giving anything away? Bjorn had to agree. The encounter was strange, unprecedented. Curious, he looked more closely at the jewel. Actually, that's really strange. It's pretty good. It might be worth something. 10 silver, maybe? Let me try my appraised jewellery skill, suggested Erik. There was a long silence. Well, said Bjorn eventually. I don't believe it. It's worth over a bezant. Bjorn stood silent. At home, he was simply stunned. If his warrior had greater facial detail, Erik would have seen its jaw drop. In a few minutes of existence, Erik's joke character had just obtained more wealth than Bjorn had gathered in a year of patient fighting. Bjorn's thoughts were a whirl. Part of him bitterly resented Erik's instant success, and a lot of uncomfortable questions arose. Was there another way to play the game that meant his years of accumulation were wasted? Did many other people know about this? Was he being stupid all this time that he had prided himself on his careful banking and tiny increases in copper coins? On the other hand, Bjorn felt a surge of excitement too. Perhaps Erik had made an important discovery about the game. Already, with his new wealth, he could buy some decent equipment, get off to a flying start. From nowhere, Erik could now hope for some modest success in the graduation tournament, and, if Bjorn could help him, then of course he would do so. Okay, chapter 4 next time. Bye.